Imagine a world where money does not exist. You trade the chicken in your hand for a bag of wheat, or you work all day and only receive bread in return. There is no money in your pocket, no cards, no banks. Everything works with the logic of, I have this, what do you have? Today, however, with a single tap on a phone, we can send unlimited money to the other side of the world. So how did humanity go from bartering to digital money? In fact, what we call money is not just metal coins or paper banknotes. The era we live in, technology, and people's needs all affect the form and use of money. Money has shaped countries, trade, the way people work, and even wars throughout history. But it did not begin in its current form. It started in the simplest way: barter. For hundreds of years, people exchanged something they owned for something they needed. You have grain, the other person has livestock. You trade. Someone has a tool, another has fabric. They exchange it. In small communities, this system worked to a certain extent, but it had a major flaw. Both people had to want each other's goods at the same time. If you had grain but the other person did not want grain, the barter ended. There was also the problem that goods could not be divided. For example, you have a cow but want a smaller tool, yet you cannot cut the cow in half. As populations grew, this system became inefficient, and people began looking for something everyone would accept. That is how the idea of money was born. The first things to function as money were valuable items such as salt, cattle, grain, and cocoa beans. These items were useful, and their value was recognized among people. In Rome, soldiers were sometimes paid with salt. Even the word salary comes from salarium, meaning salt money. In Sumer, barley was traded with measurement units, and large purchases were made with silver. However, as populations and trade increased, these also became insufficient. Something more durable, easier to carry, and more standardized was needed. Thus, metal coins emerged. The first metal coins appeared in Lydia, which is located within today's borders of Turkey. They were made from mixtures of gold and silver, and symbols of important people or valuable objects were stamped on them. This showed the value of the money and also provided trust. This idea spread quickly. The Greeks minted their own coins and placed gods and symbols on them. In Rome, silver coins became indispensable for the economy. These metal coins were easier to carry, store, and accept compared to salt or wheat used in traditional barter. This made faster trade possible. As a result, places were needed where money could be stored, protected, and borrowed when people had no money. Banks emerged. In ancient Rome and Greece, money changers exchanged currency, lent money, and collected interest. During the Middle Ages, banking expanded further. Especially important families in Italy laid the foundations of modern banking. People could now deposit money in one place and withdraw it in another, eliminating the need to carry large amounts of money on trade journeys. Then the era of paper banknotes began. Since carrying metal coins was difficult, paper money was first created in China. The world admired this form of money used in China. However, it was difficult for Europe to accept and adopt it. To standardize money in countries, each nation tied its currency to a certain amount of gold. In other words, the money you held could, in theory, be exchanged for gold. This system lasted for a long time, but wars, crises, and the Great Depression in the 20th century made it impossible to maintain. In 1971, U.S. President Nixon completely ended the convertibility of the dollar into gold. Thus, the fiat money system used today emerged, where the value of money no longer depended on gold, but on the trust and credibility of the government. With advances in technology, money merged with technology. The first credit card appeared in 1950. Then came Visa and MasterCard. People started shopping without carrying cash. When the Internet became widespread in the 1990s, online banking and digital payment systems like PayPal emerged. By the 2010s, phone payments, QR code payments, and contactless cards became part of daily life. In many countries, cash usage decreased significantly. Places like Sweden became almost completely cashless societies. In China, people pay even in markets using QR codes. And of course, cryptocurrencies appeared. Bitcoin was created in 2008 by a mysterious person named Satoshi Nakamoto. It made it possible to send money anywhere in the world without any intermediary. Bitcoin is seen as digital gold because the total supply is limited. Cryptocurrencies offered fast, secure, and decentralized transactions, but they also brought volatility, security concerns, and regulatory problems. Today, many countries have started developing their own digital currencies, CBDCs. China is testing the digital yuan, and Europe is working on the digital euro. The world is moving toward an increasingly digital monetary system. Some countries are heading toward becoming fully cashless societies. This brings convenience, but also raises discussions about privacy. In summary, the journey of money started with barter, turned into commodity money, then metal coins, then paper money, experienced the gold standard, transformed into fiat money, and eventually moved toward digital payments and cryptocurrencies. Money is no longer just metal or paper. It has become data, code, and technology. What will happen in the future and what we will need to do will be revealed with time.